So now that we're learning nouns in chapter 4, we are going to talk about noun characteristics just like we did for verbs. So what is the definition of a noun? It's actually the same in English as it is in Latin. And a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Now, they perform the same job functions in Latin and in English. So in English, nouns have different jobs, but the noun doesn't change. So I threw the ball. The ball was thrown. All put the ball on the table. They all start with, they have ball. Now, but in Latin, the noun endings change, and that helps us know the function of the nouns, which I actually think makes learning nouns much easier because the ending tells us what the job is. So Latin has fewer words and more endings, and just like verbs, one Latin noun word can contain several English words. And the reason you need to know is just like verbs we could say that verbs contain a pronoun. Nouns also contain several different words, and we'll show you what those are in a minute. But for instance, Latin did not have the words a, an, and the. They didn't have those prepositions, and they're actually included in the word. So because of how the Romans and how they had to write, they didn't have paper and pencils the same way did their language is a little bit more compact than ours is. It saves some time and some space. So nouns have 3 characteristics, just like verbs have 3 characteristics. And the first thing that we're going to learn about is genders. So nouns, unlike in English, we don't have genders. Nouns in Latin have gender. And they are 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. Now, they don't always go. For instance, in Latin, women's names are always feminine. Men's names are always masculine, but ships are feminine. So people are always assigned the roles that you might think belong to them, but words can be that you don't necessarily, that don't have a gender in English, like table. It actually has a gender in Latin, and it's the feminine gender. Now you'd think it would be neuter because it's not. We're not talking sex, we're talking gender. So don't be confused by that. So in Latin, most first declension nouns are feminine. Those are the nouns we just talked about in the vocabulary. There are 4 exceptions, and we will call them the pain words, and they are masculine. In fact, you're going to learn the pain words this week. First one that we learned, if you look back at your vocabulary, was poeta, right? Which means poet. The second one, and you're just going to have to memorize these. That's why they're a pain. Agricola and incola. So agricola is farmer, incola is settler, and nauta is sailor. Okay. So what they were first declension nouns, which are mostly feminine, but they were jobs that were considered to be held only by males. And yes, there is a famous Latin feminine female poet, but we'll talk about her in Latin 3. So they happen to live in a feminine declension, but they are actually masculine. Okay, so in Latin, the case of the noun tells you what the noun's job is. There are 5 cases, which I will teach you in a moment. Each of these cases has an ending. So case is really about the noun's job. What is its job? And we'll talk about that in a moment. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is number. So all Latin's nouns have a number. Guess what? Verbs have a number and nouns have the number. That's the only characteristic they have in common. And this is easy. It's singular, right? Just like that means how many, right? How many. Singular is 1 and plural is more than 1. That's easy. So it is gender, case, and number.